All I'm doing is reporting the news, and I want you to come up with your own conclusion. Leave that in the description or in the comment section below, and let me know what you think about this. And no matter how you look at it, the loss of life is always tragic.
A mother's mission, calling for the termination of an officer after she says her son was killed in a high-speed chase that should have never happened. 13-year-old Stanley Davis III was riding his dirt bike when a police officer attempted to pull him over for reckless driving.
I'm not making a joke out of this, but it's kind of ironic that the woman that's speaking about this her name's Pastrana, like Travis Pastrana, the super motocross guy. I'm just pointing something out.
Now, this resulted in a chase that ultimately caused the boy to crash and die. CBS 4's Ashley Dyer is live tonight from the law firm representing the Davis family. And actually, you're learning this is not the first time this officer has been involved in a deadly pursuit.
God damn it, are you fucking with me?
Boynton Beach police officer Mark Sohn has been involved in 3 high-speed deadly pursuits, all of which, according to attorneys, were deemed unlawful.
Had he been terminated with the prior incidents, my son would still be here with us.
From heartbreaking tragedy comes a demand for change.
No criminal charges will be filed against a Boynton Beach police officer, but he still could lose his job. The department is trying to determine if the officer violated department policy when he followed a 13-year-old boy who was riding a dirt bike on a public street.
All right. So what you're starting to understand is that this officer wasn't criminally liable, but now internal affairs are going to look into it. Leave a comment down below how you think that internal affairs investigation went.
Hey, good evening, Jim. So on Thursday, we got a huge information dump in this 60-page Florida Highway Patrol homicide report, which goes into great detail every element of the investigation. Criminally, it cleared Officer Mark Sohn, but now begins the internal affairs investigation to try to see if he broke any department policy.
The day after Christmas, Stanley Davis III was riding his new gift, a 2022 Honda off-road dirt bike, from his grandmother's house to the Chevron to fill up with gas. It wasn't street legal, and Davis was only 13.
Before you make judgment, listen to this whole thing, okay?
Before entering the gas station, he did a wheelie before pulling up to pump one, according to Florida Highway Patrol's homicide crash report. Inside the store, he gives $5 to a man that he knew previously to hand to the cashier for the gas. Davis told the man that an officer saw him and he wasn't sure if he would be harassed. Davis never filled up his bike with gas. Instead, he took off with Officer Mark Sohn close behind him. Sohn trying to pull the teen over for reckless driving, the report says. David Thomas is a retired police officer and current forensics professor at Florida Gulf Coast University.
When you're got lights and siren and you're behind somebody and they refuse to stop, it is a pursuit. Why was the kid speeding? He was speeding because the cop was chasing him.
Off camera, a few seconds later, Davis lost control of his bike, crashing. He was pronounced dead on the scene. The Highway Patrol report said Davis broke several laws and it was his actions alone that led to his death. Sohn, the report says, did not make contact with the bike. It cleared Sohn of any criminal wrongdoing. As that investigation ended, it's now internal affairs' turn to totally separate investigations.
Do you anticipate that this internal affairs investigation will result in finding that the officer violated anything?
Sure, because their policy is very specific about what they can pursue for.
Boynton Beach police policy says officers can only pursue someone suspected of a forcible felony, something like murder or rape. Davis had been driving recklessly.
So you can leave your comment on however you feel about this. Me personally, knowing that the pursuit should have kind of ended before all this, you know, this was a very tragic thing to happen. You know, we can all sit here and go back and forth about, oh, he wasn't legal to drive or this or that. You know, maybe he has property. Maybe he was in a position where he just needed some gas, had to run to the store and run back home, and then he was off to the friggin' woods. I don't know that. I don't know any of this. And I you know, you can leave your comment down below, but what I do want to say is from their policies, from the police policies, and this officer already being involved in 3 other incidents just like this, it makes me question about the officer. So, but look, we're going to continue.
So is that traffic violation worth that kid's life?
Stand up for Stanley! Stand up for Stanley! Stand up for Stanley!
Family members, activists, and attorneys joined in solidarity Friday night, sending a message to Boynton Beach Police.
Fire Mark Sean! Fire Mark Sean!
It's a renewed call to terminate one of their own.
He has a rap sheet that shows it. He's abusing the community and he has to go. He has to go today.
A review of Son's personnel record shows a history of reprimands. In 2004, the department suspended Son for 57 hours for violating at least 12 different rules and policies in a vehicle pursuit. Since then, he has been disciplined 2 other times for unsatisfactory performance in a vehicle pursuit.
The city of Boynton Beach will fight to prevent a fired police officer from ever getting his job back. The city fired Officer Mark Sohn in 2022 for his role in the death of 13-year-old Stanley Davis III. But in May, an arbitrator ruled the city had to rehire Sohn.
So if we made it to this point right now, we're about to get into the commission meeting. There's a little bit more of the news, but then we're going to get into the meeting where, you know, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I'm going to tell you it's something to watch because, you know, I do feel for this family losing their family member and their 13-year-old son. You know, I couldn't imagine losing my daughter. So please watch this video all the way in its entirety. And at the end, you give your comment on how you would feel about this situation.
Tonight, city officials decided to not accept that decision. Ari Height was at the commission meeting and has more on the emotional outpouring from the community.
Shannon Thompson, the mother of Stanley Dale Davis III. I would like to stand in the gap for the other victims' mothers, as I am not the first mother to have experienced this. I am the latest. That is so bizarre to have to stand here and say such a statement that I am the latest. It does not take 90 days to come to a conclusion. Mark's record have shown his despicable behavior. Let me refresh you guys on some facts regarding from the Internal Affairs investigation. Remember, Mark Sean was shown on video evidence beating a restrained Black person that he was a subject of a civil matter. He was also a subject of another civil matter regarding when he sicked a dog on a fully restrained person. I don't know about you guys, but seeing my 13-year-old son lie on that asphalt, breathless, is a image that I cannot wipe out of my memory for the death of me. I don't know why this is being prolonged. There's no communication. I'm just baffled for words to even have to be standing here and constantly pleading with you guys when this should not even be a topic of discussion. His record is so despicable. I'm not understanding what does this man have over this city, over these officials, that this needs to even be discussed of should he comes back to the force. He serves this community no purpose. His record shows that he have countless insubordinations that even his own supervisor wrote. And let's not forget when he murdered Cyrus Dill on his file, when he was suspended, it was quoted that he was laughing and took that suspension as a day to remorse and celebrate his birthday. This is so despicable. I don't know what takes 90 days to decide the fate of this man. Part ways with him, as he serves no purpose within this community. Hashtag a pissed off Black woman and a mother.
Thank you.
Stanley Davis, the father of Stanley Davis III. It's a bittersweet moment. Here it is, we're going back to the situation that's open wounds again. You know, we're supposed to have this bonding and bridge with the police department, but that seems to fade away. Not too long ago, we had a SJ Day, and this officer here shut the road down, everything down, told me it was closed. Public park, And this is not the first time it's happened. I don't understand how in our community we can't have nothing. We go through the proper channels, getting permits, everything, for us to be slapped in the face. So it shows you what value we hold in this community, which is none. And I'm gonna say this, and I really don't care how nobody take it. If Mark Sean is hired and I run into that dude, we're gonna hold court in the street. So however it plays out, I really don't give a fuck how it play out. And I'm speaking for myself. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. My life was ruined that day that I watched my son lay on the asphalt like his mother said. So whatever happens to me, the day I come in contact with that guy, I'm totally fine with that. Whether it's hell or jail, I'm totally fine with that. And I want y'all to understand how I feel. I'm not asking you to side with me. I don't really give a fuck what decision y'all make. I'm telling you the decision I'm gonna make.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Pernell Davis. I'm here on behalf of my family to talk about the possibility of Officer Sean getting his job back. First and foremost, I think it was a problem that we wasn't notified by the city. To have to look on the news or see Facebook posts about it was, I think, from all the good work we've done in the past during that situation in, conjunction with the city, the police and all that, I think we was owed more than just to open up our phone and see that. I think it was something we could have, had to sit down and talked about, and we had a better understanding instead of having to find out that way, and definitely reliving some of that hurt. You know what I mean? Some of that hurt from our family, knowing what we went through, and the relationship that we had. So we feel like, it's time to get that relationship back. And we just feel like it's been no effort from the city after that announcement to even kind of get that relationship back. But we're here, we're willing, to have that relationship. But we also want you to know that it's definitely a slap in the face to even think about the possibility of getting the job back, which I know last meeting we was here, and to see what played out when that was a time for us to really start speaking and start bridging the gap back. And for the way it played out, it shows why we didn't get a call, because it's like the commission is not a commission. It's like the city is we don't know how the city is being ran right now the way it looked last week. So for us, that's a extreme dysfunction that in a time like this and something that's about to happen, we need the commission to be together, definitely in a situation like that for us and our family, because we counting on you guys to make the right decision. And just the little portion that you did speak about last week, you said you had 90 days, and my question is, why wait 90 days, city attorney? Like, why wait what are we waiting on? If it's something that's that pressing and it needs to be addressed, why wait 90 days? That's something that when we found out the situation, like y'all having a special meeting, from what I heard, we could have a special meeting about that. Like, that's something that shouldn't take the whole 90 days and keep the family in limbo. We're already hurting as it is, but to keep us in limbo for 90 days, I think is extremely unprofessional. And it's definitely a disservice to our families.
Next person, podium.
Good evening. My name is Diedrich Strawn. I'm the current president of the South Palm Beach County branch of the NAACP. But I'm also an attorney by trade. And I'm here to talk about agenda item 6K, and that is the possible reinstatement of Officer Song. This arbitration opinion and award that was issued back in May, I have to tell you, as an attorney, it was probably one of the worst written opinions I've ever seen. Not so much for the legal basis of it, but because it was riddled with contradictions. I wanted to point out the most egregious. According to the arbitrator, the essential dispute is whether Officer Song was in an active and continuous pursuit of Stanley Davis in violation of the city's pursuit policy? That question was answered with a resounding yes by the arbitrator, okay? But in deciding to reinstate Officer Zone without back pay, mind you, which in and of itself is incredible, but I want you to just listen to what the arbitrator, his rationale for this. Prior discipline of Officer Song in connection with violation of the policy resulted in penalties that placed Officer Song in an insufficient notice of the importance of compliance. I want you all to marinate on that a little bit. Everybody, marinate on what that means. What the arbitrator is saying is, even though this officer was responsible or involved in incidents that caused the death of 3 people, the penalties that he suffered was such that this 20-year veteran officer had no idea how important it was for him to continue to comply with city policy. Is it just me? Or is that one of the most ridiculous things that anybody in this room has ever heard? So essentially what you're saying is this officer was too incompetent mentally to understand the gravity of all of his past indiscretions. If that's the case, that in and of itself is enough for you not to reinstate him. That in and of itself, this is what the arbitrator said. This officer should not be reinstated. He violated the policy 4 times within a 20-year period. He had other disciplinary actions in his folder. There was testimony of other officers who said if it were them, they would not have pursued. And the question was why?
Thank you, sir. Sorry.
Hashtag, this ain't right. But you can make it right.
Thank you, sir.
With the right vote.
Thank you. Next person, please approach the podium. Come on up.
I was trying to figure out who got the clout.
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Hawkins, live in the city of Boynton Beach, 2760 Northeast 5th Court. It said, we, the undersigned citizens of the Boynton Beach, Florida, and the surrounding cities petition the Boynton Beach City Commissions to appeal the aberration unjust decision to reinstate Officer Mark Sean to the Boynton Beach Police Department. The Internal Affairs file on Officer Mark Sean clearly reflects the multiple disciplinary infraction, 10 written reprimands, and 3 suspensions, including the 2 for violating police department pursuit policy. Officer Sean has a history of showing no regard for the policies and the rules he swore to uphold. He has involved in 3 high-speed chases that led to the death of 3 black victims: 38-year-old Cyrus Deal, 5-year-old Jaden Ridian, and most recently, 13-year-old Stanley Davis III. The citizens of Boynton Beach have no faith in this officer who has shown no regard for abiding by the rules that govern him. His reinstatement would not be only ingracious, but also an insult to the families of the victim. His reinstatement would send a message that the elected official do not value terms set forth by policies and expressions in disregard for the lives and the rights of the citizens of Boynton Beach. We insist that you listen to the voices and the concerns of your constituents. Hashtag, it's just not right.
Thank you. Next person to the podium, please.
Good evening, Pastor Richard Dames, resident of the city of Boynton Beach. Good evening, commissioners, members of the dais. Tonight I stand first and foremost as a voice that is speaking out for many as we express our heartfelt condolences on the tragic death of Stanley Davis III. I stand tonight as a voice that is speaking out for a community of citizens, of Black folks who are outraged and frustrated at the very thought of Officer Son possibly returning to the police department. I stand tonight to express the fear and frustration of Officer Son possibly rejoining this police department. How much more pain and problems does this commission intend to pour out on the very families who have lost loved ones at the hands of this individual? Tonight, you will hear from some of my colleagues and the community who will speak about justice along with injustices. You will hear about the lack of community trust, about the possibility of reinstating this officer. You will also hear about the accountability to the very people who elected each and every one of you. You will hear about the previous and current administrations, how they have been neglected, the repeated violations of this officer. Not only will you hear these comments on tonight, but you will hear them from now on until the decision is made by you, our elected officials, to not reinstate this officer. We are demanding a public response along with an action plan from city management addressing the arbitrators to reinstate this officer. We're also asking this commission to know that it is the community's desire for commitment, justice, accountability, along with restoring the trust to ensure the safety and dignity, not of just some folks, not just a few folks, but to each and every citizen of the Boynton Beach City. Hashtag this ain't right.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, good morning. We, the family of Stanley Dale Davis III, are still mourning. And for the ones of you that have y'all mind set up, it'll be you next. Justice for Stanley Dale Davis III.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you please state your name for the record?
Dante Todd.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's John Hepburn, and I was actually born and raised in Boynton Beach, Florida. Galaxy, the elementary school down the street here on Boynton Boulevard, used to be Boynton Junior High School. Played basketball there. The culture center across the street used to be our basketball court.
Sir, I'm sorry, can you just move a little closer to the microphone?
Used to be our basketball court, and it was a segregated high school. So I'm here to speak on the reinstatement of Mark Markson, the police officer. So often we hide behind the rules and the laws of our certain leaders. I'm saying that to say this. I'm also a retired firefighter and a veteran, military veteran, paralegal. And I like to say that so often we hide behind the rules and regulations that exist before us. So I like to pose this question to each and every person that's here today, the commission members, as well as everyone here. This question: if that officer was black and the kid that he chased with that terrible background that he already have, and he happened to be white, not only would they have gotten rid of him and fired him, he would have been prosecuted, and let alone to reinstate him. Again, I'm gonna ask that question. If the officer was black and the kid was white, and regardless of what we think of who caused it or what caused it or whatever, he would not only have been fired, but he would have been prosecuted. And we wouldn't be having this meeting here today. And if we did, this chambers, it would be packed with my white counterparts. And really you commissioners might even be attacked by my certain white counterpart. Let's just keep it real. Let's keep it transparent. So that question I pose to you, think about it. If the officer was white, if the officer was black, the kid was white, would we reinstate this man, let alone keep him? We would have been trying to prosecute him. Think about that.
Thank you, sir. Please, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Reverend Ray Whiteley from Faith in Florida. Before I start reading this, I want to share about a meeting that I attended a couple months ago. And the meeting that I attended, it was in another area, but the meeting was to see the different system that failed somebody that passed away. So for 3 hours, we had leaders from the different areas sit back and examine somebody's life to see those systems that failed that person. Of course, in that meeting, I was pissed off because what I noticed was all those systems that failed this person have been failing black and brown, black men and women forever. And we've been talking about it. I say that to say this. The death of Stanley Davis III was not simply a random act of faith. It was a direct result of years of neglect and inaction by our city leaders. The lack of policies to prevent high-speed pursuits residentially, in residential areas rather, has cost us a precious life again. How many more must we lose before change is made? Our past and present leaders have failed to address the system that led to young Stanley Davis's death. We cannot turn a blind eye to this system failure any longer. The arbitrator's decision has further fractured the already fragile trust between the community and law enforcement and the people who we vote in to represent us. To rebuild this trust, we demand transparency, accountability, and meaningful policy changes. We need a thorough review and overhaul of policing policies, officer conduct standards, and disciplinary procedures. The time for half-measured and empty promises is over. Community involvement is not just important, but it's essential. We must have a seat at the table when it comes to policies that are being crafted. Oversight mechanisms are put in place. Our voices, our experiences, and our wisdom must be valued and respected. Advisory boards made up of community leaders, activists, and residents can provide the necessary checks and balances to hold people accountable and ensure our safety and well-being. In conclusion, let us reaffirm our commitment to justice and fairness. Let us demand from our city leaders immediate and decisive action to rebuild trust, safeguard our safety, and uphold dignity to every member of our community.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Together, we must stand along strong. Let us stand united, and let us stand for justice. Hashtag this ain't right.
Thank you, Mr. Whiteley. Next person, please approach the podium.
Good evening, Ricky Petty. Once was a wise old bird that sat on an oak. The more he sat, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he learned. Why can't you be like that wise old bird, that wise old owl? I say that to say that the community is speaking, and I hope y'all hear him loud and clear, because if y'all don't, the trust that we already have is gonna widen that gap. And we're hoping that you're gonna make the best decision based on the information that you're hearing, not only tonight, but what you're seeing in the community. So we want to believe that you're going to do what's right. We really do. And we hope that you do what's right. Hashtag this ain't right.
Thank you, Mr. Petty. Next person, please approach.
Wesley Schuler. I'm going to tell you what's not right. That we sit down here, play these games with y'all. We know it's conflict of interest at every door. But this is not right. This family should not even go through this situation at all. Because I'm going to tell you, it's a two-tier situation. We know that from the city of Boynton. This is not right because the situation shouldn't even happen from day one, but it did happen. So now since we're here dealing with this, what are we going to do about it? Because this game that y'all playing a little good game. Y'all playing it. Y'all rolling the dice. And then they were talking about waiting until August and stuff like that. That shouldn't even happen. Because I'm going to tell you, when the city manager and all them get together and want to fire people from the city of Boynton, it don't even take long. They escort them out the door. Get the police involved. Police don't have checks and balance. City manager, you're not qualified. You're not qualified. I'm going to call it for what it is. You're not qualified. You don't even have a background in a situation to do a budget. This is not right for all the city people that putting the trust in this situation. And then y'all sitting up here thinking that y'all want to see if y'all want to hire him back. You done heard the cry. But you know, when it all said and done, this ain't gonna turn out good. So y'all need to do what y'all gonna do right. Make this situation right for the people. Because y'all, we don't work for y'all. Y'all work for us. Now, God bless you.
Thank you. Next person, please approach the podium. State your name for the record.
Community activist, 106, Northeast Boynton Beach, Florida. I'm just Northeast. I'm all over Boynton. I ain't got no Pacific.
Mr. Orr, can you state your name for the record, please?
Community activist. Okay. Starbucks time over? Are you not gonna,
No.
Sir, I'm sorry, you need to state a legal name for the record.
Okay.
Yes, you can restart the time.
She's going to restart your time. Give us 1 second.
My name's Tori, I'm 106, I'm community activist.
Your microphone's not on.
Community activist. This on?
Yes.
All right, community activist, Tori Orr, and I'm here on behalf of Stanley Davis III. You know, like I said, I hate to hear this, to hear it brought up. You know, because I was with SJ. I was with SJ that day he died. You know, we was at the barbecue stand, and I seen him on that bike. I was like, damn, it's a nice bike. And he was like, I was good all year. I was like, that's what's up. And he left in the air. 2 police sitting right there at the car, at the church. You know, he left. I went home, you know, ate my ribs, breezed them through Facebook or whatever, you know, but to say, you know, I did the protest for George Floyd, you know, on Congress Avenue. And we walked around this whole city. And I just promised this time, you know, we're not going to walk and talk and sing and kumbaya this time. You know, because it's too much. I'm hearing this officer, you know, he's bragging. You know, it's funny to him still. Like, what's going on with this guy? Like, how does, you know, one even think stuff like that funny, you know, taking life? So I told you I wouldn't get my job back. Like, that's what the word is back in our community, that he's laughing and joking. It's funny. You know, but it ain't gonna be funny, you know, come soon. And we just hope and pray that the city of Boynton, you know, all the people in the diocese board that we voted for, the people of Boynton voted for, black, white, brown, yellow, you know, all of y'all are people that got voted in. And we just hope that y'all, you know, do the right thing. We really hope so, because we're not gonna be singing in Kumbaya, man, this time. We're not gonna be walking around, you know what I'm saying, we'll do a unity protest. No, because it's gonna be broken. I thought we did good last year with the city, Dan, at the park, with the community. I thought we did real good, Mr. Woodrow. You know, I thought we did real good, Angela, with the book bag drive and the toy drives. You know, but now it's a matter. Why do these parents have to keep coming up here pleading for their kid for y'all to do the right next thing? You know, we don't want to have to keep coming down here, because like they said, like the guy said, any other time y'all want to do anything, y'all would do it in steadfast. Y'all don't need us to, y'all not contacting the family when stuff is going on. You know, that was kind of hurtful to hear Purnell say, you know, he had to look on Facebook to see that. You know, we got a city attorney. We got an attorney here.
Thank you, Mr. Orr.
I'm not going nowhere, and I'm not worrying about the police either, because nobody ain't moved last week.
Thank you.
Nobody ain't touched nobody last week. So
Thank you, Mr. Orr. Thank
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to, excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Mr. Orr,
But
come on.
you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
When them two people were right here
Mr.
last
Orr.
week, they didn't touch him.
I know, Mr.
Did
Orr.
they touch him?
Mr. Orr.
Now see, he gonna come over here and touch me though, right?
No,
He gonna
Mr.
come over here
Orr.
and touch me. Because I want to exercise my right like they did last week.
Mr. Orr, thank you for your comments, please.
I'm just so sick of it, man.
Please.
You know, I just want y'all to touch me like y'all did.
No.
To touch me. That's all
No.
I do.
Tory.
Yes, y'all is. Y'all bullies.
No.
Y'all show it at the biggest level. Y'all do it at the biggest levels, man. What?
Mr. Orr, you're out of order.
Y'all did it at the biggest order. I don't care. I know it. I'm just
Orr.
do what you do last week. Do what you do last week. Adjourn it.
Mr. Orr.
You didn't adjourn it. You ain't adjourn it now, right?
Mr. Orr, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Wade King, 235 Northwest 10th Avenue, born and raised, Boynton Beach. Retired educator. Y'all know this wrong. All right? As someone stated earlier, if this had happened to one of our little Caucasian children from our community, we wouldn't be here. I'm gonna go a step further. If this had happened to one of our Jewish children from the community, all y'all would be fired when none of y'all have no job, point blank. If the Jewish community had lost a child the way we lost this child, would none of y'all be here? We vote just like they vote. We breathe air just like they breathe air. Blood runs through our veins and heart just like it runs through yours. You all, most of you, I don't know you, but I believe some of you have children. If not, you have relatives that have children. Imagine if that was one of yours laying down there on that pavement, bleeding out. This ain't right. I wasn't even coming here today, but a friend of mine insisted. He said, come on, Mr. King, come on, and check this out. This is wrong. Y'all know this wrong. This dude was insubordinate time and time and time again. When you're insubordinate on your job, you get fired. You don't have to wait till you kill 1 or 2 or 3 people. You get fired. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, you get fired. When y'all don't do what y'all supposed to do, guess what? You gonna get fired.
That's right.
The Most High said, touch not one of my little ones. You would prefer to try to tie a millstone around your neck and jump into the ocean. I pray in the Most High that he come down and he correct all this incorrect behavior. And I curse each and every one of you in the name of the Most High that vote to reinstate that boy in his job. And that I pray in the mighty name of our Creator. On all of you, I curse you in the name of Yahweh, because this is wrong. Now y'all do what y'all feel y'all need to do, and my Creator gonna do what he feel he need to do.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other public comment speakers?
John Dames, Post Office Box 713, Boynton Beach, Florida, 33425. There's several issues I want to address. The first one is I had an opportunity to look over the report, 35-page report, what I looked at involving Mr. Mark Nebuchadnezzar's song. So when I looked at it, right, all the loopholes that I saw in there, right, I actually thought I was eating a box of Fruit Loops because there were so many loopholes in that report. And so when you go to arbitration and they see what I read and they decided that he can get his job back, right, what we call that, right, is a fixed fight on Cherry Hill, okay? Because obviously the arbitrator, right, was Jim Crow great-great-grandson, okay, to rule on something like that. Second of all, are you surprised that you lost the arbitration hearing? You've never won an arbitration hearing in the history of the city. You're the #1 city in the state of Florida for lawsuits. You had an ordinance on your books for 100 years where coloreds couldn't be out after dark. Okay, you had a little fake parade, and 48 hours later, you came back and you fired the human resource director and every black person that she hired. Okay, and not only that, right? You allowed somebody to be 20 years as a law enforcement, and he wrecked it. He wrecked this city. He wrecked it. There's a lot of blood. Mark Sohn, I hope you're listening online, but I wish you was here, because I don't want to talk to you online. I want to tell you in your face, okay? 36 years in law and local government I've been, and I'm a union rep. So I don't deal with a lot of issues like this here, okay? But I wish Mark Sohn was here, because he has a lot of blood on his hands. He's destroyed a lot of families. And guess what? When his judgment come, the PBA ain't gonna help him. The CRA ain't gonna help him. The CIA ain't gonna help him. And his DNA ain't gonna help him, okay? No sin will go unpunished, not one sin. And I'm gonna leave this city with this. I've talked with a lot of people that work here, former employees, some current, and this city is toxic, okay? And I'm gonna leave you with this. In my Bible, I didn't say Reverend Dame's Bible, I said my Bible, okay? In the book of Deuteronomy, he told me to tell everybody this, everybody that worked for the city, all you bullies and leaders. He said, I curse your country and I will curse your city. Checkmate.
My name is Dr. Monica, you hear me? Oh, I don't. My name is Dr. Monica Roundtree Cleckley, native citizen and resident of Boynton Beach. I first want to extend my condolences to the family of Stanley Davis III, whose brevity of life was at the hand of an officer who has a documented record of insubordination. And I can't call names, y'all say we can't call names, but someone else will be missing from that football field that has been so beautifully designed, Stanley Davis. He played football on that football field. So he too will be missed. As you guys make the parade and hoorah about it, we're excited for everyone else, but Stanley Davis III will not be there. This officer had a documented record of insubordination to his superiors and a blatant disrespect to the policies and procedures which govern his employment, all due to the city's inability to produce succinct, clear, concise manner of how 20 years of his service he had bad behavior. It has been overridden to the point that what is most important is what makes the world go round. Miss Shannon, it's money. It's money. The arbitrators and those who support them, they have the money. I heard it said that holding a public office is public trust. When you hold a public office, you hold our trust. And when that trust has been violated or breached or even appears that it is, harmony has a hard time unfolding. And as commissioners elected to cease a public service, it is your duty to ensure that you are serving the interests of all the people, not just the ones you like, the ones you know, the ones that look like you, the ones that live where you live. Your duty is to serve everyone. You must uphold the roles with integrity, trust, and wisdom. And wisdom is the key thing. Hashtag this is not right.
Thank you.
Alicia Roundtree, 805 Northeast 2nd Court, Boynton Beach, Florida. All right. Good evening, everybody. As my colleagues and community members have stated, we all know that this is not right. But I want to speak from the perspective of the police officers. I have spoken to many police officers personally and privately, and they are scared. They know that if you all rehire this guy, that everything that they have tried to build with the community, with my son who's standing next to me, we go to many events, that it breaks the public's trust. So I heard all of my colleagues have said a lot of great things, and they've said the right things. But have you spoken to the police officers as well? They're scared. They now have to watch their backs to say, dang, the community is going to be upset. Now we have to watch our backs because they're upset with us. So at this point, we're just asking you all to make the right decision. I have really stayed away from this case because I have a son that wasn't 13, but he's 10 years old. And he's a good kid, just like their son was, Stanley Davis Jr. And it's like one decision away from death. And I feel for that mother and that family because, again, my son is a good kid. And it's like, if he just made one wrong decision in this community, he'll be dead. And that's how a lot of our parents are feeling, the parents in this community are feeling, the kids in this community are feeling. If we make one wrong turn, we'll be dead just like our friend in the community. So we're asking as a community, I'm asking as a mother who's been a resident of this city. Somebody said, Galaxy, I was a student at Boynton Beach Elementary School when it was Boynton Beach Elementary School. I was a student there. So I've been here a long time, my whole entire life. And we as a community are asking you to make the right decision. I know you might have to go against what the arbitrator said, but as Mr. Strong has stated, they basically didn't make sense in what they stated. So it's like, what's the next step? So we're asking you tonight to make the right decision, to listen to the community, to the police officers, to make the right decision, and do not hire him back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening to this commission here on tonight. Johnny Barber, a U.S. citizen and also a pastor of the St. John Missionary Baptist Church. I stand here on tonight to offer comments on the reinstatement of Officer Sohn. I offer not only condolences, but also divine comfort and strength to the family of Stanley Davis III. It's extremely important that the foundation and the pillars of trust that bind a diverse, civilized community together are maintained. The people must trust that those who are elected officials will represent the best interests of the people and not special interest groups. People must trust that hired government employees will honestly fulfill their responsibilities. And when called upon, the people must also trust that fire and rescue will perform their duty of rescuing and putting out fires. The people must trust that law enforcement will serve and protect the people that they have been sworn into duty to serve. What we are witnessing here is a corrosion of trust in an individual's ability to fulfill those duties and maintain the trust of the people of Boynton. The reinstatement of this officer, it also damages the community's trust in the institutions that willfully allow such a threat to infringe upon the relationship between the people and those who have been elected and sworn into duty to protect and serve the people. As elected officials, each of you have a crucial role in restoring this trust. I urge you to consider the impact on this family as well as this community, and let this be an inflection point, a moment where we can work together to rebuild the trust and confidence. Hashtag this ain't right.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. David Wiggins, Boynton Beach resident. I want you all to consider something. If I were a doctor contributing to the death of a patient, I would not be licensed to practice medicine. If I were a fireman who set fires and committed acts of arson, I would no longer be a fireman. If I were a teacher contributing to the delinquency of a minor, I would not be a teacher. The city of Boynton Beach, you are at a point of inflection, and as Robert Frost stated in his poem, you are at a fork in the road. Are you going to take the road less traveled, which means police accountability? And I have to pause and state this. Anytime people of color, and particularly black people, begin to speak about police accountability, the narrative is always framed around black folks being anti-police. We are not anti-police, we are anti-police brutality. So the question becomes, are you going to hold this officer, this police department accountable. That's the word that we are looking for. We are looking for you to uphold the policies that you have voted to enact on the departments in your city. What are we going to do? Accountability is not something that is a difficult word unless you are used to doing whatever you want to do, going around unchecked. And I see it as the good old boy system. There has to be a check and a balance for police and any other department or any other entity that decides to do wrong in this city. So the question becomes, City of Boynton Beach elected officials, are you going to put accountability as the standard? Or are you going to continue to operate in the status quo of mediocrity? Dr. King said it like this: the time is always right to do the right thing.
Thank you.
Bryce Graham, Second Vice President of the National Action Network, Central Florida chapter under the leadership of Reverend Al Sharpton. We've come here time and time and time after again, and I am sick of it. Tired of it. And I might I oppose that it seems like this city is under the indictment of 1619 while we are headed to Project 25, while living in 2024. And why do we have to bargain with you about an officer who has committed egregious acts in this city time and time again? How many more do you want? How many more blood sheds do you want in this community? Where it is that our people are calling for justice, accountability, and a simple thing at that, which you should do, honoring this community, upholding their views, their values, not just for who you think it should be for, but for the black people in this community who have had to deal with this outlandish officer for 20 years. Enough is enough. And so I've come to say today that you all need to make a conscious decision, because like Donald Trump said, there will be bloodshed. And I'm not talking about the bloodshed of those who are immune to injustice. I'm talking about the bloodshed of those who are elected to protect and serve the values of the people in this community. And I'm talking about at the ballot box. We will vote you out. We will get you out at all costs. So I'm saying to the city of Boynton Beach, make the right decision for Cyrus Deal, for Jayden Radon, and Stanley Davis III, and the nameless, faceless victims who've been attacked by this officer, the nameless, faceless victims that we don't know about, and the egregious acts that he has done inside the department. Get it right in this city, unless we are coming with a mighty vengeance. And I'm telling you, a mighty vengeance.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Herbert Thompson. I'm the grandfather of Stanley Davis III. I'm kind of speechless. I don't talk much, but ever since he been gone, it took a part of me away. Every time I pass on Seacrest and look over at the cemetery, you know, when I got the call, the accident, he was laying out there, covered up in a sheet. They ended up taking me away in the ambulance to the hospital, okay? And it hurt. And I'm just sick and tired of being tired over the years that we've been fighting backward and forward. I mean, like everybody else say, what this officer has, that, and you all, this me saying the way I feel, that you all blood would be on your hand because, I mean, you all reinstate him. The same thing happened again. You all got to pay out, you know, and I feel like if it was one of your family, relative, kids, this would have been, we wouldn't even been young over the years discussing this. So I just letting you know how I feel, and I hope you all do the right thing. Just imagine it was one of your grandkids, niece, nephew, and that's about it the way I feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boynton Beach City Commissioners did not speak at all about this during the meeting. Instead, they listened to public comment, and then they voted unanimously to appeal the arbitrator's ruling and try to keep Officer Mark Sohn from getting his job back.